Hello everyone, thanks for joining with our webinar today. So I'm Vishaka from viTesters. As a software testing service provider, we would like to share our knowledge with the community. So conducting these webinars is one key step we would like to do, and we would like to get the contributions of the industry experts and get their valuable insights. So today we are excited to have Neelam Pal with us. She's a senior test automation architect, and apart from that, I would like to introduce her as a uh, supporter and mentor of software testing professionals. She has almost 18 years of industry experience, so she has a wealth of knowledge and industry experience. Welcome, Neelam. Thanks for accepting our invitation to conduct this session. And as you all know, initiation of test automation is an investment to a project. Therefore, it associated with the significant cost. So when later on, if the team has to work on the maintenance effort by putting an excessive effort, then it will be a burden to all, not only for the QA team. So that's why, however, we cannot go with zero maintenance effort because, if there are any changes, then we have to work on it. But thing is, how we should work effectively is the thing we should consider about. That's why we wanted to bring this topic to you. At the end of the session, if there are any questions, you can ask. Yeah. So, yes, we can start. Thanks.
Thank you, Vishaka, for introducing me. I think let me share my screen and then I talk a little bit more about. I currently work for Capgemini in India, and I have a little more than 18 years of experience, mostly into automation testing, and I have worked with multiple tools, small application to big enterprise level applications, from simple to highly complex projects distributed across the geography. So yes, I can, from my experience, I can tell sometimes cost of creating new automation is lesser than cost of maintaining the scripts in the system. Now, whenever you have an automation, not using the GenAI tool with the existing tools that does not have GenAI concept implemented, they tend to go into the maintenance. And it is very obvious your application is going to evolve with time. So there will be a changes in the UI. Because of those changes, your automation also needs to adjust to what is changing in the UI. Sometimes that adjustment is too big, that it just supersedes the cost of your original development effort also. There are few tips and tricks how we can minimize the cost to the maintenance. Cost is one part, effort is another part. We need a specialized skill set to do the maintenance. So that also is in the picture, which shoots your maintenance effort, estimation, and cost. Today, I am here to talk on this topic in some detail. And what I intend to do is, by the end of the session, you should understand the key reasons why automation script becomes hard to maintain. You should also take away few strategies to write a scalable, reusable, and maintainable test. Then we will also see some of the AI tools that will support maintenance-free automation. Now, it is maintenance-free does not mean it is a 0%. With AI tools, with non-AI tools or non-Gen AI tools, if the maintenance is 40%, it will definitely reduce it to 10% when you use AI-based tools or AI-based features. That is the industry standards which we have seen up till now. And then we will also see some real examples and demos to connect theory with the practice. We have a limited time slot of 1 hour, so I might not be able to give the detailed demos, but I'll show you some of the demos which are hosted on the tools application page, which will be worth watching once. Okay. With this, let me move to the next slide. Common causes of high maintenance. We know that application can really give a hard time with high maintenance. Second, yeah. Okay. When we talk about test automation, it is never a set it and forget it solution. Till date, it is not like that, not even with any AI based tool. You cannot write once and forget it forever. As long as your application is having the changes, you have to continuously put some efforts to it. Many teams struggle with maintaining their test suite over the time because they have been designed poorly. Some shortcuts are taken during the implementation, or there is a whole together process or strategy which is missing. So that is what we are going to break down, that what are a common cause of breaking the test case. First one, I say it as a poor locator strategies, that you have not created the right locator. You might have used XPath or CSS with some indexes, right? And now, for example, your element was under 3 div. So third div was your element, right? UI developer decides that he wants to add one more div here. So it becomes fourth div, right? So when you are using indexes or positioning, it can be a bad strategy. You should ideally avoid indexes as much as you can, and instead use your ID, name, tag name, class name. These are the straightforward, easiest one. These values are does not change very easily. However, if you cannot implement the right simple locator, then go with CSS. CSS can be implemented in some 8 to 10 ways. Pick up the one which is less prone to breakage. And if CSS also does not work out, then go with the XPath and use XPath with access. So that gives you an edge and your locators become a little more robust. Now, second is a hard coding data. This hard coding data is also a problem. Sometimes we just write a script with the data inside. Yeah. Instead of using the data inside the script, you should call the data from some external file like JSON. Now, I I am a very Python pro person, so I have something which I think I can show you. What do I mean? Now, the script which you are seeing on my screen, it passes the data. It's a hard-coded data. That means the username and password lies within the script. This is not the right approach and you should not even use it. Instead, you should create the script something like this. This is a PyTest framework and we have parameterized the PyTest framework by using the special decorator. So now I am not passing my username and password here. Instead, I am passing it from my PyTest mark. That is one of the thing, or else we can pass it via some JSON file, Excel file, CSV file, maybe XML to certain extent is right, environment file, any kind of config file. So these are the different ways how you can parameterize your test data inside the script. Instead of hard coding, parameterize from some external file that will also give you less maintenance. So tomorrow, if you have to change the data, you will open your Excel, JSON, XML, whatever it is, and just make a change there. You might not want to touch your code even in that case. So hard-coded test data is again a no-no. You should not use it. Then no abstraction. Uh, no abstraction. That means your code should not be tightly coupled with UI. Now, test logic directly interacts with UI element without abstraction. Okay, what is abstraction is it hides the complexity implemented in the code. So that means there will be an abstract class. Inside that abstract class, there will be an abstract method, and that method will have some kind of template in it. Using that template, you will be extending you'll be implementing your code in the respective classes. So that is what your abstraction is about. How it will help. If you do not do the abstraction, any changes in UI, whether it is a label text change, some layout of the page changes, or any locator changes, then you can have your test will be broken in multiple functions or in multiple scripts. Whereas if you have abstraction layer implemented, it will be a one common class file where you have to go and fix your changes, and rest of the script will automatically get the update from your abstract class. Okay, so that is one of the way. And in the projects, one very good way to implement abstraction is by using page object model. Page object model, with my experience, I 100% recommend whatever framework you design. It should be combined with your page object model because it gives you the flexibility. It maintains the right amount of modularity in your code. You are not all over the place. Your data is organized at one place, your locators are organized at one place, your script functions, reusables, utilities, everything is going to be organized at their own different files or directories or packages. And whenever there is a change in the UI or the application, you just have to go inside that particular area, make a change, and rest will follow automatically. Fourth thing which I see is lack of versioning with artifacts. Most of the time, we do not use the full capability of our versioning tools like Git. Git tools are there, SVN tools are there. Now with Azure DevOps, we have Azure repos are there. We do not make best use of it. We just make some changes, save it in our local. Next day we come, we start making the changes, again save it in our local. We push our code uh, in the last days of our sprint. Second last or third last, we wait until the last day to push our changes. Now, what happens is if today you have built a script on release A, right? Application release number is, let's say A1 is there. You have developed your automation code on release A1. After 3 days, they have implemented few of the feature stories, user stories, because of which there is going to be the change in the UI which you have written the code for. So now your automation code is not mapped with that, and there is no way to trace back that where it is going wrong, at until what point my script was working fine and from which release it has started breaking up. So we really do not implement the versioning in the correct way in that sense. So we have to leverage our versioning tools. We should have a strategy that we take a checkout every day, push back, push in, check in our code at the end of the day. If there are merge conflicts, it has to be solved in the same day. Or if you're not, willing to solve all the merge conflict, you need to cherry pick the commit ID where you want to merge your code and then do the check-in. Check-in has to be your everyday process, at least once in a day. However, it is okay even if you want to do it twice in a day. It keeps your branch up to date. It keeps others also updated that you have made these changes. So now if your team partner wants to use some of the function which you have created, they can easily access it instead of depending on you, and you share it via email or other ways. He or she does not have to depend on you. They can directly uh, you know, take changes, pull changes, or fetch changes from your repository. So that's very important. And then frequent UI changes. Applications like Salesforce or some of the SAP components, they are made, they are designed with a view that there is going to be a UI changes. There will be a dynamic elements on the application. How do you deal with those dynamicity is also um, is also should be a part of your maintenance strategy, right? Because they are going to change. Locators can change, script can become flaky and unreliable. So, instead of picking up the locator, which is bound to change, go with something else. For example, today on login page, the text is submit, whereas tomorrow that submit label has changed to sign in, and you are using button with text to identify that element, that is definitely going to fail in that case. So, the good strategy is use CSS with either ID or class name if it is possible. And if it is not possible, then also implement other ways of fetching the CSS or XPath with access information. Those are less brittle and less tend to break. Um, so yeah, so you have to deal with your dynamic elements also. You need to consider the strategy to deal with the dynamic elements as well, or take help of healing tools also, self-healing. There are a lot of self-healing tools also these days in the market. Very popular one until any of the AI tool came in the market was Helenium. What it used to do is it used to, if you have put the settings that yes, you want to use the Helenium whenever your script is going to break. So when it is broken by no such element exception, or anything which has element not found exception, something like that, then it used to crawl to the HTML layer, find out the updated information against that locator, use that information at runtime, and then rerun the script using that new fetched value. So Helenium tools like Helenium or libraries like Helenium were very useful there. Then we have nowadays actually we have a lot of tools like Testim is there, Test Sigma or Marble is also very good tool where self healing is implemented. So we have a lot of AI based tools now. Then we have flaky test. That is, flaky test means test can randomly pass or fail because that element loads very slowly. You have an iframe, your iframe content is loaded on HTML slower. It is slow than what you can view it. Then you can have some asynchronous operations inside your web page, or there is improper wait time implemented in your script. Because of any such reason, your test can become flaky. That means not necessarily that it's an issue on UI, but still it is your script is giving a failure. It can be an issue in your script. Okay, so very common way to deal with it is, instead of using any sort of hard-coded data, whether it is a hard-coded wait time or hard-coded test data or anything, you should use the dynamic version of it, like WebDriver wait or Fluent wait um, times. That's a very common thing. And for test data, include the test data from some external files. Implement your try catch exceptions very well. Take a screenshot at every exception. So whenever your code goes inside the exception condition, take a screenshot so you can follow from where originally your test has started taking. Then we have inadequate assertion strategies. So sometimes we just do, enter the username, enter the password, click on login, and we do not validate whether after clicking on login, next page appeared or not. We assume that it will appear and we start writing the code, clicking at some element, writing some another data in the next page, and so on. Um, that can be the wrong way because, let's say you have Orange HRM application, you give your login and username information and click on submit button. Now, after clicking the submit, dashboard page gets open. If you're not validating dashboard and you straight away go and click on your PIM link or leave link or any other link and dashboard page does not comes up, failure will be no such element exception when you are trying to click leave link. Right now, with this information, you cannot trace back actually where is the problem. If you have implemented assertion that dashboard appears after your submit button, then your traceability becomes much easier. You can locate that, yes, my login was not done correctly, hence the test has broken. It is not an issue of leave link or some other link. It is an issue of my login page. Now, inside your try catch exception, you might have implemented some strategies which can help you relate whether it was a wrong username password or the button has changed the locator or whatever it is. So your traceability becomes a lot easier when you have right amount of assertion strategies. Last is ignoring test coverage and priorities. Now, automating your test without a strategy is the wrong approach. It is the most, it is a very undervalued approach. People just, whatever user story is there in your sprint, they start automating them. That should not be the strategy, because ultimately if you do not have right set of test cases in automation, your maintenance cost is going to grow exponential. Critical paths can be, you might ignore writing the code, writing the testing code to test the critical paths. Instead, you might be writing the code for low priority testing piece, and test execution can unnecessarily take a longer time. Right. Now, one example which I can recollect here is, for example, I was actually there a couple of years ago. I was a part of a project where we had some 350 automation script, and people, everyone, engagement manager and everyone were boasting that we have high coverage because we have so many test cases in the system. But when we started drilling, and still there was a lot of bugs at UAT level which were getting uncovered. So when we started tracing back and when we started analyzing the kind of scripts there in the system, we found that there were only 10 to 15, there were various journeys in the system. Um, for example, there was a sign up, register page, there was a checkout, and there was a login. This is these are some of the workflows there. For these workflows, only 10 to 12, now I can't recollect the exact number, but 10 to 12 or 15 max were the test cases which were written, which was not giving the enough coverage to these workflows. There were more scenarios which went uncovered, and there were at least 40% of the scripts written which the team was running periodically, but they were of no value to the system. So just writing the X amount of automation does not give you a good coverage, but doing the RTM, that requirement traceability metrics against your test script packs, will tell you whether you have a right coverage or not, and if priorities to do the automation are set correctly or not. This is a one-time activity which is usually done at the initial stage of your automation. Hence, we should really have a good, nicer test strategy written before beginning with your automation project. Okay, with this, let me move to next thing. What do I suggest as an automation architect? What should be your smart design principle when you are working with the open source tool? And for now, I have considered open source tools only. Uh, Working with a commercial tool, some of the things are very much inbuilt to them. So I am not going to talk about the commercial tools like Tosca is there, UFT is there, and so many others are there. But we'll talk about the open source tool, what we can do, whether it is an APM or Selenium or any open source framework like Gallon framework is there. We'll talk about those. If you are using those tools and frameworks, this has to be your kind of checklist. You need to implement page object model because it gives you a right amount of modularity in your framework. You should implement page factory pattern. Your uh, overall automation should be data driven or keyword driven or combination of both, depending on what kind of project you are dealing with. If it is a Salesforce project, um, mostly robo frameworks are implemented. I don't know, some issue with my pen here, but just read it as I am saying. Robo framework. Oh yeah, it's badly written, but it is robo framework. Yeah. So we can do the robo framework in a keyword format. It can be a Gherkin syntax also, given then, or it can be a inbuilt keywords which we are using. For any kind of data passing in the script, instead of keeping in a normal py file or inside your script, keep it external to it. If you feel Excel is going to be heavy, make use of database, disconnected database. If you still see that database again has a challenge, do it in a JSON format, do it in a config format, do it in the XML format, or maybe in environment file format. Choose whatever works best, but keep your data uh, separately with your script logic. Okay. And then you should have wrapper functions, customized wrapper functions for all the um, reusability things. Don't use again if there are certain steps which are going to be click and validate. If you are clicking a button and then validating the next page, just wrap it around some function, create a reusable function around it so that everyone can use it, right? The, you don't have to add lot of complexity to it. I am not asking you to add a lot of classes and then methods and then you are making it private and public. If you know all that stuff, good to go. If you do not know that stuff, ideally your framework should be, your design should be so simple and easy, so that your team or manager does not have to depend on the skilled, high skilled resources. Like I am a pro programmer person. If I write the program or if I write my framework, a real complex one, it might give me a good performance and all that stuff. By the way, for a handful of scripts, 300 and 400 script performance, it is 19-20 difference only. It's not a high difference when you use a complex data structure versus you are using the normal data variable. But what happens, how the cost is increased is when you write a complex code, you need to hire an experienced person who knows complex data structure so that he or she can maintain your code. So that is also an added cost to the project. So think from all that angle, create your framework or design your framework around the simplicity. So it should give it should be optimized, it should give a optimum performance, it should give you the right results, and it should be really easy to understand by our junior team members as well. Okay, so you need to create the functions in such a way so that people can easily understand. Now, reusable utility modules. So wherever required, create a class. For login, maybe create a class and use that class everywhere in the script where you want. Or you create a utility module for, let's say, reading the data from JSON file or reading the data from database or Excel or CSV or anything it is. Yeah, and then layered architecture, just like our application development happens. It happens in a, there will be a test, there will be a UI layer, there will be a service layer. Similarly, you should also have an architecture in layer format. If you are, if you are automating API or microservices or you're doing something else, have a separate package for it and call that package whenever required. Similarly, if you are doing UI based tests, have a separate package to it and make a call to that particular test. Okay. Yeah. Then modular and loosely coupled test design. So modular means you are organizing your test in the best accessible possible way, in the best possible way how you can access. So again, I say form is the one which gives you that kind of flexibility. So you should use that. Then assertions we have already talked. You can use soft asserts. You can have very clear messages when your script is failing. You can have screenshots attached to it when your scripts are failing. You can have right kind of try catch exceptions implemented. So assertions also come into the picture. And then intelligent weight or weight strategies. Most of the people are in a habit of using time.sleep, and including me also. I am no saint. I also use time.sleep, but you should avoid it because this is actually increasing your overall execution time. Let's assume you have 100 scripts, and in that 100 scripts, on an average, each script has 5 seconds of wait. So 500 seconds you are increasing in the execution time. So overall, you might think, oh, I am running. It's no. it's only 5 seconds because we are running individual scripts. But when it goes to the CI/CD pipeline, it increases the overall execution time, which is not the right strategy or right way to deal with it. Instead, use WebDriver wait or Fluent wait. Fluent wait is it will put your wait statement in number of in the count of some loop. WebDriver wait is the conditional wait, where if your that web element is visible, or if it is located in the DOM, or if it is located both in the DOM and the UI. So any kind of strategy you can pick up which works out best, and use that. Then we have parallel execution set. Now, I was just now talking to one of the guy before this call. He said he has some 400 test cases in the system, and it takes 6 hours to do the execution. They run in the pipeline. So there are self-hosted agents by default. If you have the different machines configured in your CI/CD, which is good. Generally, people don't do that. They run it on a self-hosted agent. So create multiple agents to run your test and divide that 600 test cases in 4 or 5 ways. You know, so 200, 200, 200, or 100, 100, 100, or 150, 150, whatever load you think. That way, your number of hours will be reduced from 6 hours to 1 hour, and rest 5 hours you can utilize in analyzing your report. Okay, if you have written a smart test, you have created the script smartly, you have screenshots attached, analysis also does not take long time. So parallel execution always helps in having optimized runs with us. Right? With Selenium Python, PyTest is a plugin which helps you to do the parallel execution. With Selenium Java, you can use TestNG to do that. If you're running it locally, if you're not running it locally, you're doing on the CI/CD, you just have to create 4 multiple jobs, and those jobs have to be configured with the different agents to do the execution. Selenium Grid is also an option, but I don't like working with it. It's slow, and every time you have to, you need to ensure that the server on grid is all the time working. And if you are not on the same network, that's another challenge. So though Selenium Grid is there, I don't recommend when we have better and smarter strategies to work with parallel execution. Okay. Now, other than this, there are few other ways, like least common ways. I mean, if you are asking me for the priority, these will be the priority which I've mentioned in the document here. Other than this, there can be a smart naming convention. If you follow the good naming convention, your automation script is ultimately is going to become smart. I said test login. The function name is test login. So how will you interpret that it is validating the with correct credentials or wrong credentials, right? So, or test application, which application? So that might not be the right example. Or if I write username in XPath variable, I say username. How will I validate if that username is coming from the XPath or ID or name, which locator, and which page it is? If I write, XPath underscore username underscore login page underscore orange HRM, this is the right naming convention. So now anybody who joins your team can understand this username is referring to Orange HRM application, and it is on the login page, and the locator which is used to identify this username is an expert. Okay. Similarly, for functions, if I'm writing uh, test login underscore valid credentials, that means this particular function I've designed to only test the happy path. Okay. Or maybe this might not be the right example, the login one, but like checkout. Sometimes you see you can do the checkout without login. So you are validating the flow test checkout without login or test checkout with login. So these are enough descriptive name to understand what you are going to do. There are a lot of naming conventions also which we can follow, Pascal case, camel case, snake case, kebab case, and there are whatnot. So choose whatever is followed in your, if whatever is mentioned in your strategy document and how people are using it in your team, work accordingly. Just that follow the right proper naming convention. Then version control and CI/CD. That's actually a good idea. You should include version control, Git, SVN, Azure repos, anything. You should have some strategy around it. How are you going to maintain your code? Which is going to be your root branch, whether it is main or master or anything else. Um, sub branches will be created based on the user stories or the testers or what, and then how it will be destroyed. Sub branches will be when they are going to be deleted. All that strategy has to be in a place. And then CI/CD pipeline, what pipeline will contain information, whether you are going to execute your test based on the tags or on based on the path name, file name, or you are going to give the upper root level command like viTest. Every test in that folder is going to run. Um, or marker based execution. So whatever it is there, you need to maintain, you need to have proper CI/CD uh, integration part also in your design principle. If I go next, I think we have talked about this. Okay. Why, sure, why it is not yet. Okay. Before we come to this, okay, sorry, we are running short of time, so I'll just talk about this. Now, AI tools to reduce maintenance. We have been talking how we can do the lesser, what maintenance strategy we can include while planning our automation using open source tools. All of these, most of these are already incorporated in the tools which are AI powered, like PractiTest is there, Marble is there, Functionize is there, Tool, Catalan, and Testing by Tricentis. So these are some of the tools I have mentioned, and it is the same sequence like how I recommend these tools to work on it. All of these tools are available on internet. They all have their own demos. I actually plan to go through those demos, but because we are short of time, so I might not show you everything. But let me just, yeah, for Marble, like this is a link. If you go through it, you can, all of these tools have some kind of free trial. So just go ahead and use that free trial. Yeah, this is your video, which you should see. They are actually talking about, um, yeah, they are talking about the capabilities of Marble, and they are also giving you the demo how it will work. So if I will take you, yeah, this is an application, let's say. They have their own Marble integrated editor. So you create the flow that what you are going to do. You can parameterize all your values within the tool. You can also, give an instruction on what all browsers you want to run the code. So you write something like English statement, and when you write English statement, see the code is automatically getting generated. And you have the flexibility to update the code and do it in the way you like it or your project has a requirement for. It's super fast. You can, if you are not using AI powered tool, you might take for simple test cases which has 2 to 3 validation and 5 to 6 steps. You might take some 3 to 4 hours of writing the script, unit testing it, and doing the dry runs, right? But using AI powered tool, it takes less than 1 hour to create one simple script. That's the difference. Yeah, it shows the code also. At the back end, either it is self, that means it is a Python code. It is using Python at the back. Now, similarly, like Marble is there, that's absolute one of my favorite tool. And then Catalan is also AI powered. They also have their own demo. If you click on play demo, it shows you the user journey, how they have been doing it. Yeah. So see the statements are very much in English. When you write those statements, it creates a workflow also, and at the back end, it generates the code for doing the same. Test is another. It's a very powerful tool. It has got a lot of integration inside it. Plus, one of the features, it gives the score to your test. The one which is scoring less, that means you put a test in your pack. You can kick that test and bring it some new test inside your pack. So that's what scoring helps. They have their own demo, so just go and have a look. They also have a free trial, so you can play around these tools, and CA is helping us to reduce the time. Now I really why AI based tool. The automation has helped. With automation, we were still not able to say it is a truly shift left. And why was it so? Because upfront cost is high, or tool cost is high. If tool cost is not high, then resources cost is high. Initial time taken is high, efforts are high, dependency on external teams are high. Hence, after 1 month, 2 months, or 3 months, depending on how your big project is, things streamlines and it starts taking the lesser time. But in the beginning, it takes more time when you work with an open source tool. But with AI powered tools, this cost is getting reduced. You do not need specialized skilled resources. Your 1/3 of the time it takes to generate the script, and it can have a better coverage because machine is putting the context behind it. So it will definitely cover all your happy path, boundary values, or any negative path into it. Hence, again, we are fully not there, but now we are actually moving towards the shift left. We with AI powered tools. So that is why it is in the picture and we should be using it. Then my 3 recommendations. Three recommendations, if you ask me, they are going to be my screen has frozen. Just bear with me. Okay, I am so sorry. My screen has stuck now. Let's go back.
Okay.
Yeah, my screen has stuck now. Okay, again frozen. That's bad, but close. Let me close some of the tabs here.
Yes, we can say
My
this. Yeah.
recommendations are, yeah, sorry. My top 3 recommendations are we should use AI enabled self healing frameworks. Most of the tools are giving you that option. Second is you should adopt page object model with data driven design. Once you get into the habit of creating your design using PERM and data driven, you will never look back. The ease it gives, the maintenance, lesser maintenance pain it gives. So I highly recommend this. And then along with UI test, integrate some kind of visual testing also. Tools like Apply Tools, Percy, or open source, we have Galen framework into it. They help to catch any kind of UI regression defects which we otherwise miss, right? So these strategies are going to strike the perfect balance between human insight and machine intelligence, making your automation efforts smart, adaptive, and future. That was all for the today's show. Any questions I can take up?
Thank you so much, Neelam. The things you have brought up are really interested and really helpful. The only thing I'd like to ask, the tools that you have discussed is very interesting, and something I'd like to ask about is this AI assistance. So you have mentioned a couple of tools, that AI powered tools, and so basically, as you know, all of us are working with open source tools. So because of the community we have and the resources availability, so I'd like to ask, so basically, as you have mentioned, certain self-healing AI-powered tools, can we integrate these tools with the open source tools like Selenium WebDriver?
Those things are already integrated in the tool. So you do not have to, like Marble comes with the integrated Selenium. It's built over, it's a wrapper over that Selenium library zone. So you do not have to separately have Selenium and then write the script.
Okay, so the other thing is, up to what extent can we use these tools? So if there are any UI element change, so I can understand if there's a slight difference on the label name, then we can, so it will be a self-heal tool. So up to what extent can we use these tools if there are any changes?
Up to what you said?
So basically, so if there are any changes, so up to what extent we can manage these changes?
It depends on how you are using. See, those are mostly UI based. AI based tools are UI based. If there is a change, you have to go and regenerate that script.
Yeah.
It takes the fraction of minute, and then it regenerates with the updated information. And
Oh,
there is no limit to it. What kind of commercial license you have taken, you can do that work.
okay. So some are depend on certain things like clients' budget allocation, when we are
Yes.
using commercial tools. Yes.
Yes, there is a budget constraint, but the competition is so high that
Yeah.
you really get you get a license in a steel deal price. So like practice test, I am vouching. They are like $45 or $49 per month per tester. So that's a
Per
steel deal
tester.
per
Per
tester. So
tester.
it's a steel deal, right? But
Yeah.
when you have more number of testers, you talk to their team, they create a package around it. I think 10 testers or something, they with something I forgot, it's just $200 and unlimited things. But you talk to their commercial, they give you the steel deal. Now every practice test, because I work closely, so I know them. But other tools also, they are in the competition, so they are giving a good price wise. They are giving a good deals.
Yeah, so when it comes to working on the maintenance cost, I think that is pretty useful, right? Using
Yes,
these tools. Yeah.
yes,
Without
definitely.
getting that burden, I think it's better to invest for these AI powered tools. If I ask
Yes,
any question, are you in your organization? Are you using these tools for
yes,
the automation stuff you are using,
yes,
right?
yes. I work, like I said, I work for Capgemini. They are partners with some of them.
Uh-huh.
Um, like tested with this Tricentis is our partner. Worksoft Certify is our partner. So yeah, we have projects where they are integrated.
How about the facilities they have for these parallel test executions?
Okay, like I said, parallel test execution, you can do it with CI/CD tools,
Yeah.
and most of these tests are already integrated with CI/CD tools.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that is something interesting to think about. Thanks for
Yes,
bringing me to the topic, Neelam. And
yes.
so, how about the others? Do you have any questions to ask from Neelam?
If no question, then on screen are my contact details. If tomorrow also, if you have any questions, you can please feel free to reach.
Sure. So, if the others don't have any questions, we can wrap up the session. Thank you so much, Neelam, for bringing this topic, bringing this stuff to us, bringing these valuable insights to the community. I really appreciate your time and effort. And regarding the other participant, thank you so much for the participation, and I really appreciate your interest and time. And so for the upcoming webinars also, we would like to bring more interesting and valuable topics. And if you have any suggestions or topics that you think that we should discuss in the webinars, then you can come up with your ideas. Yes, see you all in next sessions. Have a great day. Good night.
Thank you, Vishaka. Thank you, everyone. Bye bye.